A very good evening to everyone. The Pilani Entrepreneurship Conclave, as a part of Apogee this year, was a huge success with a record number of startup registrations. We've taken the conclave to the next level by bringing in new partners like Your Story, Fights with Pilani, and incubators like IIM Udaipur Incubation Center and Social Alpha, among others, to give the greatest mentorship opportunities for the founders. After a grueling shortlisting process, the top startups from each track will be declared as the winners of the conclave towards the end of this event, so please stay tuned for that. We're excited to announce that our guests for today are Mr. Rishabh Shekhar and Mr. Akshit Bordia. Mr. Shekhar is the co-founder and COO at Pepper Content. Pepper envisions at being the one-stop destination for content creation for text, design, and video. Starting as an idea, a couple of college kids brainstormed to becoming India's largest content marketplace, Pepper has sure grown a lot. Mr. Akshit is the co-founder at Flint. After his successful stint at Cred, he went on to establish his own project. Flint aims at creating a secure platform for investments in crypto. We welcome you both, sir. Now, we will be moving on to the panel. Since we have a very since we have a varied array of an audience, let's start with the basics. Akshit sir, how does one enter into Web3 space?
Correct. First of all, thanks Harshita for having us. Uh, just to answer a question, right? How to enter Web3? I'll give you some background, right? I started doing crypto back in 2017. That was the first time I tasted that blood of crypto. But ever since then, kept on reading about a lot of things and kept on like tinkering around whatever is happening in the crypto ecosystem. And now fast forward to today, I can easily say that the basic 101 step to start in any ecosystem is to start playing with it. So just start toying around with the idea that, hey, I can also build something in Web3, or forget Web3 in general. When it comes to building, just start toying around with small ideas. See, like do some sort of experiment, have some sort of hypothesis, test it out, give it to some people, and then see what happens, right? So in crypto, or specifically in the Web3 world, it's way easier to do that, purely because of the possibility that everything is open source. So you can just like go to a protocol like Compound or MakerDAO or Uniswap V3 and just download a fork of it, give it your own spin and see how it performs. So fairly straightforward that way. I think one of the most interesting things about Web3 is that Web3 is all about communities. So for example, you'll find communities on Telegram, you'll find it on Discord, and then all over the place. And people are like extremely welcoming. So just join a bunch of smart people building something in the Web3 space. And within no time, you'll realize that all the smart founders, by the way, I know today in the Web3 space, have done some sort of stint with someone in Web3 before they started up. So that's some sort of trajectory that maybe people who are watching can follow.
Thank you so much, sir. On to Rishabh, sir. How does one become an effective content creator as an individual or as an organization?
I think I think content has in itself evolved a lot over the last few years, right? I think and the good and the bad part about content is everyone's definition of what content is different, right? Uh, uh, for years, content used to be just blogs to say get listed on a Google search, right? Then content became say YouTube video because YouTube got you traffic. Then content became social media graphic, right? Then content became TikTok reels and Instagram reels, right? And I think content is evolving every day, right? So now there's an era of Substacks and newsletters, right? The podcast as a segment has taken up so much, right? I think how to be an effective content creator is very subjective, and it takes a lot of research in your own field to be able to build strong content on the same. For example, Flint, right? So if Flint is developing something into Web3 which is so nascent, their content has to be more about informational and educating people about it, right? They cannot tell directly as to probably what say is 10 years down the line, because people don't even understand what is right now, right? And for example, I don't understand a lot of Web3, right? So I think content needs to be tweaked as per your own stage and the choice of things that you're doing. For individuals, that can apply to what do you want to get out of that content, right? If you're looking for, say, engagement, so reels and TikToks may be probably the best part, right? But if you're, say, as a student person who wants to build a brand, and so that you have enough opportunities post your college, you probably want to do a lot of LinkedIn posts. Probably want to do a lot of thought leadership, right? So I think the best way to go about it this is just write down what you want. This is Amazon's PR strategy, if you have heard of it. What they do for any product launch, they write a future looking PR. Okay, what do they want to talk to the media about it, right? So if they're launching, say, Kindle, they want to talk about a revolutionary reading device that changes the way you read books, right? And then they walk backwards to create and engineer what their product needs to be to fulfill that one statement that they're committing to the public, right? So similarly, the good way to go about it is commit and envision a PR, and then walk backwards, and then you automatically understand what channels, what content you need to create.
Thank you so much, sir. According to some
And by the way, I think I'm okay if you guys just call me Rishabh. I think Akshit and Rishabh works. I hope I'm speaking for Akshit as well. I think Sir is too colloquial for use here.
I don't know what happened after we left college. Something that has happened where BITS has picked the culture of medical colleges.
No, please call Rishabh and Akshit. That works for us.
Sure, whatever you prefer. So, according to some analysts, Web3 will improve data security, scalability, and privacy for users, while also countering the power of huge technological businesses. Others have also expressed their worries about a decentralized web and noting the risk of poor moderation and the spread of undesirable information. What are your thoughts on Web3, and do you believe in the notion that it may be a jargon?
So I think, for example, that question is very specific for Akshay. I'm telling you, I'm a very noob when it comes to Web3, and I'm still need to catch up, play catch up with the industry, right? But I was discussing with a few friends and some engineering folks within my company, right? And I think, like any other technology, there are trade-offs, right? Even with the blockchain and Web3, right? The problem that blockchain solves extremely well is that of like immutability, maybe not that much of scalability, but even as a society, are we even ready for that? Is that a question, right? So people people can't even deal without the edit button on Twitter, right? And the fiasco that constantly goes upon, right? Imagine every single piece of your information on the blockchain non-editable and available, like all the privacy layer is that, but that is also a problem, right? So I think folks like Akshit and need to define what Web3 eventually becomes of, right? But I think it's at a very nascent stage from an ecosystem point of view, and currently a very few set of people understand it, and the rest, like me, just try to jargonize it and act cool in conferences like this. But I think it still needs a lot of learning and breaking down into actually simpler part as to what that eventually is. But please, Akshit, you would love your thoughts on the same.
No, absolutely. I think you've covered it all, and I'll just pick one point that you mentioned. Right, it's very nascent. So think of it like how do I put it? Think of it like the ecosystem is building up ground up. For example, what happened in 2007 with the iPhone? Nobody in this world, literally nobody in this world, would have imagined that in 2022 I would get food in within 5 minutes. Nobody would have imagined it, right? So the ecosystem builds on top of it. And then think of it this way, that at this point in time, the Lego blocks are just building one by one in the Web3 ecosystem. So just like a kid grows up, it just takes its sweet amount of time to prove that, hey, I'm a good batsman, or I'm a good cricketer, or maybe I want to do IIT, I want to do something else. You need to give Web3 its due time. That's what I would say. With that being said, you're absolutely bang on. 9 out of 10 things that you hear in Web3 are jargons. And then that's the truth. Like I don't want to cover it in the face of that, hey, I'm doing something in this space, so it's legit. I think 9 out of 10 things are jargons. With that being said, there is some true potential in the technology, just like there was some sort of true potential in, and then we keep speaking to a lot of people at let's say Coinbase, FTX, and people who have been pioneers in this. And one thing that I am hearing from specifically people who are gray haired, people who are like above 45 years, is that they're saying that I was there when the .com, or let's say I was there when the internet boom was there, and then I'm here and it feels exactly the same. So you just need to like now empathize and create, like take that sort of wisdom from them and then say that, hey, we need to give this time. It will mature. Of course, it is here to stay. With that being said, of course, there would be a lot of caveats. And like in all honesty, I myself treat treat everyone in our team as well as us as a beginner in Web3, because it's just getting started. You can't say that, hey, A is better, B is better. It's like too early to comment.
Thank you so much, Akshit. Rishabh, since you said that you are an amateur in Web3, let's focus on your forte, that's content. Content has grown so much over the years. How is this development treating you? And what are your plans moving forward in developing content?
Sorry. Yeah, so I think content, the best part about being in the content industry that it literally has no limit as to what the TAM is, right? And I think that's a very core principle that we say it again and again, even in our town houses. Our TAM is defined by our own limits. And I think with Web3 shaping up, with so many new trends building, 3D, AR, VR, right? I think the amount of content that will be built and put out on the internet will just 5x, 10x every year going forward, right? And I think we would have eventually gotten there, but COVID just increased that rate very, very quickly, right? Suddenly, when you any company, any person that needs some amount of discoverability, they need to have content online, right? I think how content will change, right? And after a point when AI content becomes very usual, Google indexing won't then be would then be a big issue, right? Because there's say billion pieces of content being created every single day, right? How do you fight that? How do you stand out, right? So I think content in itself will change its focus from say reachability to contextual awareness, right? I think as more and more people try to create content, the people who create content with the right context will win the game, right? And I think we at Pepper want to build tools that can provide that context and in a collaborative environment, right? So for example, if you want to create a video, say you Harshada is a DOP, Akshit is writing the story, is writing the script, I am say the animator, right? So there's multiple moving parts to every piece of content now, right? So how does a Pepper platform enable say all three of us to come together and create one single out piece of content, right? And I think when we enable that and say imagine people are collaborating across geographies and building their POVs, their cultures into each and every content that they create, that is the kind of context and that is the kind of content that will really, really stand out, right? So I think what we at Pepper want to be is the basic plumbing on top of which every content on the internet is powered, right? So how do you do that is obviously a big technological challenge, but I think we are very excited for the future here.
Thank you so much, Rishabh. So this is a question for both of you. Before the arrival of Web3, what role did content play in Web2? And in the transition, what role did it play? And how has it influenced this transition from Web2 to Web3?
Actually, you want to take that first?
Sure. I think I'm to be very honest with you, I'm not that great with content. So, but I'll just give you the way I think about this, right? That content does not change at any point in time. Like if you really think about the core of it, content is what people feel. If I feel that, hey, I don't know, maybe Bangalore is super cold, then I would just like share that information with everyone. What has really changed with Web3, and that is where I mentioned there is some merit to this new technology that's building up, is that when, let's say, and in a truly decentralized manner, when content is shared by people, at least in the Web3 ecosystem, nobody can tweak around with that. For example, what you see Elon Musk is doing right now with Twitter is the classic example of, for folks who don't know, Elon Musk is trying to buy Twitter at 43 billion, which is sort of a very interesting case that's happening right now. And the only reason he wants to do that, at least from a public narrative lens, is that he wants free speech to fathom better in this world. So that's the core of Web3. That if any ecosystem is built on top of it, then the freedom of speech or the freedom of expression can essentially be safeguarded in those boundaries. With that being said, I think I'll let Anirudh share more about what the changes are that he's seeing.
No, I think actually, I think we all need to realize that Web2 in itself is not very old, right? It's 20 years old, right? Internet and all of that really picked up in the early 2000s, and it's been 20 years, right? Content for Web2, I think the interesting part is every year, at least every 3-5 years, it has changed what content means for the internet, right? For the early 2000s, it was the eBays and the Craigslist, where people were searching the website internet for just goods and services, right? It was purely transactional in some sense, right? Then came the era of services, right? When you are selling services, you tell them okay what the services are about. So that there came the era of information and education. Then there came a very big shift to entertainment, right? Say the Netflix and the YouTubes and the Netflix and the YouTubes of the world took off, right? So I think over time, what predominantly content has been for Web2 has very dramatically shaped up, right? Again, there's indexing, then information, then entertainment, and now probably even narratives, right? I think uh, companies and folks with the best narrative have the last laugh, right? So say an Elon Musk doing his shenanigans on Twitter is a purely a narrative as to how people perceive that guy, and he's trying to act on that, right? So I think till now, I think the question of how what content played a part in Web2, it has been very, very different. And I think, again, going back to my first answer, it needed to be decided by what you want to do out of it, right? So a company that wants to be in entertainment will produce different content, and they achieved a different segment. The best part about the Web2 was it got to, for the first time, one single thing got to so many people that you can literally define any reason of creating content, and you will find an target audience for that, right? I think that is how Web2 really helped, really getting things to the masses. I think Web3 would maybe build upon that, right? Web3 maybe is already to the masses. Now it's time of probably defining niches or defining more. For example, community is a big thing in Web3, right? So I think community-led content, right? UGC-led content, non-moderated content will become the future. So I think, I think that's my short take on that.
Thank you so much. Following upon that, do you believe that artists have more ownership over their own work in Web3 as compared to Web2?
I won't really want to comment much on that, but I think yes. I think as far as the NFT trend goes and everything, I think the liberty for folks to own and actually get their dues of their artwork and their pieces is higher. That being said, I think Web2 also has some sense of that, right? So, but I think it's more convoluted in the sense that Web2 really did not talk about ownership of content. It talked about the creator and then the person who bought that content, right? So I think the IP really shifted from the creator once they sold it to a company. So for example, even in our model, the IP doesn't lie with the creator that created it, right? Maybe that will change with Web3, but I really think NFTs will be the game there. But I think Akshit, please help me and also understand this part.
So I was in like before Anshu and I, we started Flint. We were in this place called as Jibhi in Himachal Pradesh, right? We stayed there for almost a month. Met a bunch of great artists there, right? And the only thing that I understand, of course, it's my limited understanding, is that artists want recognition for their work. They essentially want that if they do great work, people appreciate it, and that appreciation does not go to, let's say, something like a T series rather than the artist itself. That's true ownership, right? Of course, money. I don't know. Maybe Web3 can make you more money. Web2 can make you more money, and then of course there are arbitrages across the board. But the only thing that I would comment here is that yes, Web3 essentially establishes, and again goes back to my boring point on there is some merit to the technology. So the merit is that Web3 allows you to print your name on that JPEG, or on that piece of art. And once you've printed your name, nobody can take it back from you. Nobody can, like, I don't know, white label it and sell it in some other name. So that is something which is fascinating. One more thing that I am seeing very, very, and it's a very crazy idea, right? That I'm seeing in specifically in the South, is that some people, some producers are not get some directors are not getting producers. They're getting people to buy NFTs of that future movie, so that the NFT funds the movie direction. And when that happens, the revenue generated from that movie is paid back to the NFT holder. That is something which is like truly fantastic. So I think all those interesting business model innovations are happening. But at the core, I think the technology just enables you to print your name on your work, which gives you more recognition for great work.
Thank you so much, Akshit. Moving on to the final question, which may be a bit personal, but what's one thing that you've taken from your journey starting from scratch?
Rishabh, do you want to?
Yeah. So sorry, Aisha, can you repeat that?
Yeah, what's one thing that you've taken from your journey starting from the very beginning?
I think, one thing, is that I personally really believe from the bottom of my heart is you can build for the Web2, you can build for the Web3, you can build for the content, fintech, edtech, whatever tech you want to build, right? At the end of it, it's really about the people that you work with. If you enjoy working with them, I think problems really shape themselves into good challenges, and I think it then is just consequent steps of solving really interesting challenges and problems that you're tackling, right? I think it can be in any space, but if you are surrounded by the right people, you enjoy your work. So I think anything anyone does, if they are enjoying it, it becomes fruitful and it becomes a good learning experience. वो trend में है नहीं है, I think that's something that is not in your control, and frankly something that you shouldn't even care about. So I think when we started our business, content services was a very unsexy business, right? And people really do not think you can make a startup out of it. You will end up being an agency, right? So I think if you would have taken that and as a feedback and probably shut it down, we wouldn't be here talking, right? But I think we just enjoyed the process. Me and Anirudh both share a passion for writing, and we were like, okay, we are taking it a day at a time. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but if you're enjoying it, be at it. And it frankly most times it works out.
Thank you so much, Akshay.
I'll just add just one small point, right? I think one thing that I've taken from this journey is about intellectual honesty to yourself, and then as well as the people around you. I think if you're just brutally honest that, hey, this is something that is working, this is something that is not working. Hey, this is what I feel you are doing great. This is what you're not doing great. Hey, this is where the company can do better. And like just sense of that high bar for honesty all across the board. I think that is something which is contagious, because that just helps everyone to just move themselves from, let's say, a level 5 to a level 10 in no time, because everybody is just honest to each other. So I think that is something that now I'm just developing a lot of appreciation for. I just try to be as honest as possible, and that just like the best people that I have come across really love it. Like they really love the way a very honest, I would say, setup is built compared to, I don't know, some other setups which are not maybe our cup of tea.
Thank you so much, Akshit. Thank you so much, Akshit and Rishabh. This has been an amazing and wonderful talk. Moving on to what everyone is waiting for, the prize distribution. The winners for this year's BITS Pilani Entrepreneurship Conclave will be announced by the speakers. The track-wise winners are for blockchain, health tech, app-based.
Akshit.
Okay. So the name starts with D, and I think it is Doubt Connect. Congratulations.
Congratulations to the winners. For agro and agri-industry,
Akshit. I think.
Akshit.
Okay, it's on me. Oh. It is Manja. Manjha, Manja.
Congratulations. For clean energy, UNS.
Yeah, so I think the winner of in the track Clean Energy UNSDG is Qualiwon Technologies Private Limited. Congratulations, folks.
Congratulations to the winners. And for the final track, women entrepreneurship,
The winner of the Women Entrepreneurship track is Natasha. Congratulations, Natasha. All the best.
congratulations to all the winners. And thank you once again, Akshit and Rishabh, for joining us today.
Thanks, Harshita.